In a world where Africa's future is being rewritten by a new generation of leaders, one name is echoing louder and prouder across the continent: Ibrahim Traoré. At just 36 years old, this revolutionary leader from Burkina Faso has become a symbol of resistance, unity, and bold Pan-African ambition. But what makes him stand out from the crowd? Why are millions across the continent rallying behind him? From military strength and unshakable youth support to his growing reputation as a Pan-African visionary, the signs are everywhere. In today's video, we break down the 5 powerful reasons why Ibrahim Traoré could rise as the face of a new Africa in 2025. Whether you support him or doubt him, one thing is clear: Africa is watching, and 2025 might just be his defining moment. Let's start the countdown. Number 5. Growing social media presence and global appeal. Traoré's popularity is surging, fueled by a dynamic social media campaign resonating with Africans and the global diaspora. His charismatic anti-imperialist image is amplified through viral videos, memes, and AI-generated content, like a 2024 deepfake speech in multiple languages that exploded on TikTok and WhatsApp, captivating West African youth. X posts praise him as a symbol of African defiance, highlighting his reforms in infrastructure, agriculture, and education. His appeal, reminiscent of revolutionary Thomas Sankara, extends to Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa, with global figures like Meek Mill briefly acknowledging his influence. Russian media bolsters his anti-Western stance, but organic youth frustration with neo-colonialism drives much of his fame. In 2025, Traoré's social media presence is set to make him a continental icon, potentially sparking youth-led movements. However, critics caution that his online cult could suppress dissent, as supporters sometimes silence critics. Still, Traoré's digital influence is likely to cement his status as a Pan-African hero, particularly among the diaspora. Number 4. Economic reforms and self-reliance. Traoré's economic policies are gaining support by proving African nations can prosper without Western aid. In 2022, Burkina Faso's GDP rose from $18.8 billion to $22.1 billion, defying predictions after rejecting IMF and World Bank loans. He nationalized gold mines through the state-owned Sopameb, taking control from a London-based company, boosting national pride and inspiring calls for African resource control. Traoré also prioritized agriculture, increasing tomato production from 315,000 to 360,000 metric tons, millet from 907,000 to 1.1 million metric tons, and rice from 280,000 to 380,000 metric tons. 326,000 metric tons by 2024, enhancing food security, cutting government officials' salaries by 30% while raising civil servants' wages by 50%, has won workers' support. The Institute for Security Studies forecasts 8% annual growth until 2043, potentially lifting 2.4 million out of poverty. Traoré's self-reliance model could inspire other African nations, though corruption and mismanagement in state enterprises pose risks. Number 3. Military strength and anti-terrorism efforts. Traoré's focus on strengthening Burkina Faso's military to combat jihadist insurgencies has boosted his reputation as a decisive leader. Since taking power, he has expelled French troops, ended Operation Sabre, and sought partnerships with Russia and Turkey to bolster security. He declared a general mobilization in 2023 to involve civilians in supporting the military, emphasizing his commitment to retaking rebel-held areas. Traoré has also invested in local recruitment and training, aiming for strategic autonomy rather than relying on foreign forces. His anti-imperialist stance, especially his rejection of Western military presence, resonates with Africans tired of foreign interference. At the 2023 Russia-Africa Summit, Traoré famously told leaders to stop behaving like puppets who dance every time the imperialists pull the strings, a speech that went viral and cemented his image as a fearless leader. Despite ongoing violence, over 60% of Burkina Faso remains outside state control, and 7,200 people were killed in the last year. His supporters see him as a warrior fighting for sovereignty. In 2025, Traoré's military reforms could make him a symbol of African resistance against both terrorism and foreign influence. His leadership in the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, formed with Mali and Niger, could strengthen regional security cooperation, positioning him as a key player in the Sahel. However, accusations of human rights abuse by security forces and rising violence could challenge his credibility if not addressed. Number 2. Strong youth support and generational shift. At 37, Traoré is one of the world's youngest heads of state, a stark contrast to Africa's average leader age of 63. His youth, energy, and outspokenness resonate with Africa's young population, who make up over 60% of the continent. Afrobarometer surveys show that 66% of Burkina Faso accept military rule, up from 24% in 2012, reflecting growing youth frustration with democracy's failure to deliver jobs, education, and healthcare. Traoré's bold actions, like farming with locals and wearing his military uniform daily, make him relatable to young people who see him as a leader who understands their struggles. His speeches, often blunt and free of diplomatic niceties, connect with youth fed up with corrupt elites. For instance, his warning on April 1st, 2025 that he would be merciless and ruthless against those blocking Burkina Faso's development struck a chord with young Africans seeking strong leadership. Across the continent, from Kenya to South Africa, young leaders and activists praised Traoré, comparing him to revolutionary icons like Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba. In 2025, Traoré's youth appeal could spark a broader movement for generational change in African leadership. His ability to inspire young people could pressure older leaders to adopt reforms or risk being replaced. However, his authoritarian tendencies, like restricting free speech, might alienate some youth if democratic freedoms continue to shrink. Number 1. Championing Pan-Africanism. Traoré's strongest asset is his embodiment of Pan-Africanism, a philosophy of African unity and self-determination that resonates deeply across the continent. Inspired by Thomas Sankara, Traoré has positioned himself as a leader fighting against Western imperialism and neocolonialism. His expulsion of French forces, rejection of IMF loans, and formation of the AES with Mali and Niger signal a bold push for African sovereignty. He promotes local production, African-centered education, and judicial systems rooted in native customs, moving away from colonial legacies. His rhetoric, like calling imperialism the real terrorism that keeps Africa in permanent war, has ignited hope among those who see foreign powers as the root of the continent's poverty. At Ghana's President John Mahama's inauguration on January 7, 2025, Traoré received the loudest applause among 21 African leaders, showing his continental star power. His vision of a federation with Mali and Guinea could lay the groundwork for a stronger, united Sahel, challenging Western-dominated institutions like ECOWAS. In 2025, Traoré's Pan-African leadership could make him a central figure in redefining Africa's global role. As the African Union pushes for G20 influence and UN Security Council seats, Traoré's voice could amplify calls for reparative justice and economic independence. However, his reliance on Russian support and failure to restore democracy by 2024, as promised, could draw criticism from those who value democratic governance. Predictions for 2025. In 2025, Traoré is set to dominate Africa's political stage, potentially eclipsing veteran leaders. His role in the AES could solidify the Sahel as a center of anti-imperialist resistance, with economic growth and agricultural success promoting his self-reliance model continent-wide. His strong social media presence keeps him prominent, but persistent security issues, with millions displaced and violence escalating, threaten his popularity if unresolved. His authoritarian decision to extend his rule to 2029 risks backlash, particularly if civic freedoms erode further. Traoré's success hinges on balancing bold rhetoric with concrete achievements. If he curbs violence, sustains economic progress, and fosters regional unity, he could become a transformative figure, inspiring Africa's next generation of leaders. However, if security deteriorates or his regime grows overly repressive, his appeal may wane. For now, Traoré's visionary leadership and youthful charisma make him a key figure to watch in 2025. From his unwavering stand against imperialism to his magnetic appeal among Africa's youth, Ibrahim Traoré is more than a political figure. He's becoming a movement. Whether 2025 cements him as a continental hero or sets the stage for deeper challenges, one thing is undeniable: he's already changed the conversation. Traoré represents the dream of a united, self-determined Africa. So now it's your turn. Do you believe Traoré has what it takes to win the heart of Africa? Or is the hype outpacing the reality? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss deep dives like this one. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay powerful,